This is really unprecedented because it's the first time in the history of Kenya that a supplementary estimate is coming into place barely a month after the new financial year comes into force. So we are truly living in completely uncharted waters, and therefore this calls for very tough measures. I think, let me just put it on record, that I'm acting in so many ministries, but I want to assure Kenyans I'm not earning any acting allowance. Because tough times call for austerity measures. So I think it should go on record that that is the position. Here we say that the National Treasury prepared the financial year 2024-25 supplementary estimates number 1 in accordance with Article 223 of the Constitution and Section 40 of the Public Finance Management Act, Cap 412A. The focus, Mr. Chairman, of this financial year supplementary estimates is to align the budget to the revised fiscal framework following the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024. Mr. Chairman, I'm sure members are aware that the National Assembly considered and approved the financial year 2024-25 expenditures which were contained in the National Assembly Appropriations Bill number 34 of 2024, and His Excellency the President assented to it. The budget was to be funded through additional revenue measures amounting to Kenya shillings 344.3 billion, which were contained in the Finance Bill 2024, which everybody now knows that the President declined to assent to, resulting in a financing gap of similar amounts. And the reasons for his decline are well known to all Kenyans. So he did decline to assent to that bill. In view of this, the Treasury has prepared the financial year 2024 supplementary estimates, number 1, to cut down on planned activities and projects to close the financing gap of the said figure of 344.3 billion and to align the budget to the revised fiscal framework. Mr. Chairman, the proposed realignment covers quite a number of areas, but let me just flag. As indicated earlier, the withdrawal of the 2024 Finance Bill forced the government to forego an estimated revenue amount of 344.3 billion. The government will nonetheless continue the implementation of the revenue-raising measures contained in the Finance Act of 2023. So the 2024 is out of the way, so we are working on the basis of the 2023 Finance Act. Now, to ensure the expenditures, Mr. Chairman, I'll draw members to page 3, item 7. To ensure that expenditures contained in the financial year 2024-25 Appropriations Act are aligned to the revised fiscal framework, we propose the following measures. 1, expenditure rationalization. 2, adjustment of the projected revenue and borrowing. And 3, to implement policy measures to contain wastage. The rationalization of the budget, Mr. Chairman, calls for the following. The National Treasury proposes to rationalize tax revenue, that is for GK-funded, Government of Kenya-funded expenditures, allocations in the recurrent and development budget for ministries and departments and agencies, including allocations to the constitutional commissions, independent offices, parliament, the judiciary, and shareable allocation to county governments as provided in Table 1 in your document. So basically, Mr. Chairman, I'm affirming your position that everybody is taking a haircut. There's no exception whatsoever.
We are actually having the supplementary budget, but to us, technically, we know it is actually the main budget because we never had a chance also to implement the budget that we passed and was signed into law by the President and became the Appropriations Act. And therefore, what we'll be doing today, to the benefit of all Kenyans, is actually the main budget. It's only called the supplementary one because there is no other semantics for it. Members, we passed a budget of over 4 trillion shillings. We have had now to relook at what we need to do now because the budget we passed just shy of 4 trillion. It was 4.992 trillion. We had hoped that after passing the expenditure side of the budget, then the budget will be funded. But the Kenyan people told us we need to do something, our things differently. And therefore, we then had to make an arrangement where our revenue side of the budget matches with the expenditure side. Because the revenue raising measures, if they are not there, then it means even the expenditure cannot continue to exist as it was. Therefore, what we are doing is two-way, and will be enumerated better by the National Treasury. It is to borrow slightly more. We had a budget then with a fiscal deficit of 3.83%. Currently, we are now having one before us, which is around 4.2 to 4.3% deficit to GDP ratio. It means we are borrowing slightly more. On the other hand, we have had now to look at ourselves internally and inward, and therefore look at expenditure that we can postpone and others that we could cancel so that we are able to live in a manner that matches the revenue that we expect. And in that respect then, we have been holding Your Excellency meetings with the departmental committees. All of them without exemption have had budget cuts. And all of them, I want to appreciate all the members of parliament through the departmental committees that they are members in, that we have decided, all of us, that these times are different, and therefore we need to think differently. And for the first time, Your Excellency, in my terms in service of Kenyans as an MP, I've never had any other chance where CDF is being cut, and there seems to be no one complaining about it. This is the first time I have seen. And we are doing that because we know where we are, and we really need to look at our financials and live within our means. Also, Your Excellency, we are cutting this budget across all levels of government and across all departments of government. When it comes to all levels, because I'm saying that because they have appeared before you came, we are actually looking at the equitable share, which is likely also to have a haircut of 20 billion. The parliament itself, parliament is losing 3.7 billion Kenya shillings. And also the national government is losing. Every other person has to contribute to this deficit. As I come to the close, there are things that we have gone through as the parliament, through the departmental committees, and we feel that as also the representatives of the people of Kenya, even when there is a very, very thin fiscal space, There are things that we have decided as budget committee, representing all the members of parliament, that even if there is not enough money, there are things that we have decided that we must fund. One of those things, honorable members, is that we have decided, and the Education Committee appeared before us, that the 46,000 JSS interns who have been almost volunteering in our learning institutions, being paid monies that are not commensurate with the work they are doing, that we have to provide monies for their confirmation to permanent and pensionable terms. The second thing that we have looked at as the committee, and we feel it is very important for us to fund, is the UHC staff who have also been in those kind of situations. There are also some other staff within our healthcare who have also been in internships. And we are also looking forward into funding their confirmation into permanent and pensionable. The other thing that we looked at through the Departmental Committee of Agriculture is that we are going to be funding the fertilizer subsidy to a tune of 10 billion Kenya shillings. And on top of that, Your Excellency, also, we purpose also to fund other critical areas. For example, the new KCC. We are providing for them over 2 billion shillings, 1.5 billion shillings, which will be going into stabilizing raw milk prices. When it rains, milk prices go down, and the farmers lose. So we are giving new KCC 1.5 billion Kenya shillings to act as defense for the milk prices when it comes to what the farmers get, so that farmers can get, at the very least, 50 shillings per litre, and therefore we are providing for 53, so that at around 3 shillings, we'll take care of the SACCOs management, and the farmers get their fair share. We have also included monies for coffee, cherry fat, more over 2 billion shillings. We have also provided monies, 2 billion, to start clearing coffee debts for the coffee farmers. At the same time, we have provided monies for sugar reforms for sugar farmers who have had arrears owed to public factories, and also in terms of technology enhancement within the sugar sector, so that we improve the sugar sector to be sucrose-based other than just weight.